What is up, people? It is Dave, it is Duncan back from Metal Epidemic, and welcome to something a little bit new at Metal Epidemic. Welcome to the first review and a new part of the Metal Epidemic website and our YouTube channel. A section we are going to call Tech Metal Epidemic.
See what he did there?
Yeah.
That's actually very witty.
Do you think so?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I see what you did.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It's on brand.
It's on brand.
And it's kind of punny.
That's me, Duncan. For this new segment, we will be checking out some of the latest tech, from wired headphones to Bluetooth earphones to microphones and much more. We listen to a ton of music. If you've checked out our channel, we have been reviewing albums for the last few years on here, as well as the Metal Epidemic website. So checking out the latest headphones and earphones and discussing them felt like a kind of natural thing to do on this channel, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Also, with this being a mainly a kind of metal themed channel, we will be discussing various metal albums at some point during this review that we have checked out during our time with the headphones in question. So for the first review, we are checking out the HiFiMAN Deva Pro open back over ear planar headphones with the Blue Mini R2R Bluetooth adapter. Firstly, I think we just need to say thanks to HiFiMAN for sending these headphones to us to check out.
That's a company, not just a man who calls himself HiFiMAN. Although, if there's a guy out there that calls himself HiFiMAN, fair play.
Yeah. Without these, we couldn't do this. So thank you so much for sending the headphones to us. Appreciated. So a little bit of kind of technical info on these bad boys. So this is the headphones in question, the HiFiMAN Deva Pro. It is the successor to the original Deva headphones, a full-sized open back headphone with planar magnetic driver technology that can be used both wired and wireless. The original Deva headphones were a kind of beige and silver, I think, color scheme. The Pros are now black and silver.
Oh yeah.
Aside from that, there is quite a few changes to the Deva Pro as well. Whilst they both had the Bluetooth adapter, the Deva Pro comes with an R2R adapter, which is basically what they call a chip-based R2R DAC, or DAC being digital to analog converter, rather than a traditional Delta Sigma DAC that was in the original Devas. As a result, the new R2R DAC offers lower power consumption at higher sound sampling rates. Playback on them is about 8 hours, roughly, between 6 to 8 hours. And it's just easy setup, quick and hold the button for 2 seconds to turn it on, double press to pair it up, and away you go. So a really simple setup. It looks the same as the original dongle, physically, the same buttons. You know, you've got the same buttons, USB port. But what you've also got is an additional 3.5mm socket on the Pros, which the originals doesn't have. So this means you can take off the Bluetooth Mini and turn these into basically like balanced wired headphones. Plus, like the original Devas, there's also the support. They also support USB-C connection, so you can run a USB-C direct from your PC or device into the dongle and essentially run them as a kind of all-in-one DAC headphone app setup. Another change to the Pros is the new planar driver with stealth magnet design, Duncan.
Stealth magnets, no, in fact, that's a bad joke. let's not do that one. That one's for later on when we're not recording, and I'm not incriminating myself. So
this is a new design that they're using, a different shape, and the small size of the magnets basically allows the sound waves to pass through without any interference, and this results in a kind of reduced distortion and clearer sound overall. Price-wise, these come in at around $275 I'll put some links below to Amazon stuff where you can buy these.
Is that £275? Yeah.
Yes, 275.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Worth clarifying.
Do the equations for wherever you are.
Yes, old British pounds, 275 of them. Duncan and I have had these for a couple of weeks. We've both spent some time with them, just to get a kind of feel.
We've listened to some music, like the way you said that. Just we've spent some time with them.
Yeah,
took them out for a very interesting night on the Tim. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, wined and dined.
Our wives weren't happy.
No, not at all. So just to kind of get an idea of the look and feel and the sound of them. But before we get to the sound and stuff, let's start off right at the beginning. Let's start off with packaging, Duncan. What's in the box? What do we get? What's the insides like? So this is the as I said, this is the box that they come in. The Deva Pros, and then you've basically got all the usual stuff that you'd expect. You've got the warranty cards and the user guides and all that sort of stuff. All this sort of this jazz inside, so you've got all that stuff.
If you're a man, all the things that you will not read.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You've also got obviously the cabling that comes with. You've got a 3.5 millimeter cable with a 1/4 inch jack. You've got the Bluetooth dongle as well, USB-C cable, and it's also got this lovely kind of satin, I don't know if you can see that, this kind of satin overlay on like a memory foam. It looks pretty sexy, Duncan, I'm not going to lie.
My bed, Dave. I was looking at it, I was like, that someone has stolen the idea from my boudoir and packaged it for headphones.
Yeah, so I like it. It looks and it feels the part when you open it up. It looks when you open it up, it looks like a quality product. I did like that. No carry case, but these do sit very kind of firmly inside the foam. There are cases you can buy out there for them, so it's still an option if you want a case for them. But generally, quite happy with what I got when I opened these up. It looked the part, looked solid. Onto the actual headphones themselves. The kind of design and the kind of build quality of these bad boys. I must admit, I had a look at the original Devas, and I do prefer the look and the color scheme of these. I think the kind of beige ones were a little bit 70s. I'm not going to lie. I think the black and the silver looks a bit more classy. Do you think?
Yeah.
I like
modern.
That. Yes. Material wise, it's a bit of a mix of kind of silver, kind of plastic, which feels pretty sturdy, and it's a kind of synthetic leather on the headband and around the ears. We've got a kind of soft, kind of velvet, kind of foam on the inside. I mean, it's not like super high end, but I think it's consistent with other headphones around this kind of price point. I think my only kind of gripe about the kind of, it's maybe a non-starter to be honest, but I think my only gripe was the Bluetooth dongle. So this thing here that basically clips into the bottom of the left earphone. It's not huge, but it does add maybe a little bit of clunkiness to them, kind of hanging off the bottom.
Aesthetically, it's noticeable.
Yeah, I thought so. So this just basically clips into the bottom of the earphone, just like that on the bottom. It's just on one side.
So if you put them head on, you'll see what we mean. Like one side is noticeably, So if you're looking at that, one side has noticeably got something attached, while the other side doesn't.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You're going to do the whole review like that?
No, I'm not. It's not. I mean, it's not hideous or anything like that. But I think maybe in a time where Bluetooth headphones are becoming more compact, it maybe doesn't feel as neat. But in the same respect, these are built differently to normal Bluetooth headphones. So I'm not sure where they put the Bluetooth technology, to be honest, with a build of headphones like these.
Also, it adds like no weight at all. The Bluetooth dongle is so light, it's unbelievable. So it's not as if you're adding additional weight to the. Just in general, actually, they're very lightweight. They're very, very lightweight. Absolutely. Surprisingly, from the look, you would expect them to be heavier than they are.
Yeah. Cable also, as I said, they come with this kind of dual 3.5mm cable. So you've got a cable goes to each ear. for like kind of stereo connectors, and it's the same kind of high-end kind of quality cable you'll get from HiFiMAN. Pretty sturdy, doesn't feel kind of cheap at all. A good kind of thickness to it. And I didn't have any like interference issues with the cabling at all. It's not the longest cable, it's only like 1.5 meters. So you can't sit miles away from whatever device you're plugged into.
Yeah, we'll get to, I have questions, and I think I have answers as well. But
okay,
yeah, the size of the cable like did confuse me a little bit, but I think I've got an explanation behind it.
Okay. I suppose, you know, you've also got the option of the USB-C cable, or you've got the Bluetooth option as well, which you don't need cables for at all. So it's not a huge deal. Yeah, so, and we'll get more into the Bluetooth stuff later on. As you said, kind of weight-wise, the weight of the Devas, so according to the internet, 360 grams is the weight of these.
Fuck all. That's what it is. Like, you know what I mean?
So I don't think there's been a change in the weight from the originals either. They don't feel any heavier than normal headphones, to be honest. Like you don't pick them up and go, oh shit, the weight in these, you know what I mean? It's because I think they look heavier than they actually are, I think.
Yes.
But they actually feel okay, which is, you know, considering kind of open back headphones tend to be heavier. They're actually not that heavy at all. And the Bluetooth dongle isn't overly heavy either, so it doesn't add like any crazy weight to them either. How did you find like wearing these for like a prolonged period? Did you find them okay?
So I know why you asked me. I have for anyone that's kind of paying attention, I have ear stretchings.
Oh yeah.
So my earlobe stretches out quite a bit beyond what a normal earlobe would. So headphones are, especially over ear ones, are always a concern for me. I will always opt for inner ear ones just because the comfort. I have these on in a single sitting 6 hours.
Oh, right, okay.
And no issues at all.
Right.
The headphones I'm wearing just now, granted, they are for a completely different purpose.
Yeah.
After about 2 hours wearing these, it starts to get uncomfortable, and I will have to take my ear stretchings out in order for my earlobes to fit in comfortably. Didn't have them with those. I think there's 2 reasons behind it. The actual ear coverage itself is quite large.
Yeah.
So it gives you beyond the scope of my ears, which are quite big, gives you beyond that, so they sit comfortable. Plus, I also think as well the torque and how they pull in is not like, for example, I have a pair of Apple Max Pros, so like the over-ear ones. I got them specifically because they're cushioned in a way where I don't get those issues, but they are heavy and they do push in, right? Yeah. So there is kind of, I feel like they're like on my head and they're not moving.
Yeah.
Never, like, what was weird about it is, like, after about 25 minutes, I completely forgot I was wearing the headphones, which I suppose is what they're hoping I would say, but it is true. You do kind of forget you're wearing them. There's a lightweight frame there. Your ears are comfortable. I didn't feel like the sides of my face getting overly sweaty after long prolonged listening either. So that's a big thing for me because, like I say, I have inflicted things on my body. I've modified it in such a way where the thing that I used to enjoy doing, which was over-ear headphones, is something that's a bit of a chore and something I have to take time and think about. So it was one of those things, like when we were talking about how we would review items like this. Comfort to me is up there with sound quality, just because of the way my ears are. So.
Okay.
How about yourself?
I have a different issue to you in that I have no cushion on the top of my head. I don't have that kind of bounce of hair on my head to cushion. So I found them comfortable up until a certain point. I had them about the 3 hour mark, and then I felt like I was kind of adjusting the headband a little bit. I was starting to get a little bit of a kind of, no, it wasn't painful or anything like that, but I felt like I was kind of moving it around. But the headband does adjust for us folks with the larger craniums amongst us. You can adjust the size of the headband, obviously. And I'm sure if you've got a full head of hair, I'm sure you're probably fine. You probably won't have that issue I had. I agree with you. I didn't have any, like my ears weren't sweating at all.
Surprisingly
which is something that often happens with the kind of headphones have a lot of leather around the ear. That sometimes happens, but these don't have that. That inner fabric is quite nice. And I think because they're open back as well, you do get a bit of ventilation through them as well.
Yes.
So I think for like comfort and fit, I found these were pretty good for the most part. A little bit uncomfortable after a few hours for me, but nothing that I couldn't handle, to be honest. Okay, let's get into the big topic, Duncan. Let's get into sound and what we're listening to and stuff when we're checking these out. So, firstly, I mentioned these are what they call open back headphones. So just to clarify what that is, these are not like noise cancelling headphones that kind of contain the sound inside like a closed off ear cup. Open back headphones have a vent or grill on the side, and this is to allow that kind of free like passage of air around and through the ear cup and through the drivers, which is supposed to, in theory, give you a more kind of natural sound. And you tend to find that open back headphones do generally have a better sound quality, with the exception of a few kind of high-end closed back sets. But mostly what you're getting is a sound that's more open, more airy. There's no real like pressure in the ear cup compared to closed back, which is more kind of boxed in, probably deeper bass on the closed back, but
100% deeper bass, yeah.
So yeah, you will hear a little bit of sound leaking out of these, which is normal with open back headphones. And you'll still also be able to hear sound around about you, because they're not closed off. So I think it really comes down to how you listen to your music. If you're out and about or traveling, then maybe the noise cancelling closed back is better. But if you're at home, listening to your favorite albums, then open back is maybe more the way to go. So we checked out a classic metal album to go with this review. We thought, it's a metal channel. We review metal albums.
Yeah. We should pick one that we've listened to so much.
Exactly.
Like over the years on various different headphones and setups, that when we come to this, like, we're not thinking about what the instrument's playing, we're concentrating on the sound.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it'd be something that we could compare it with straight away. We've been listening to this album for years, or we've listened to it a ton. And we could compare how that album sounds through the Deva Pros. So the album we chose for this review was From Mars to Sirius by Gojira.
Put them through their paces. I almost guarantee that anyone else that's reviewed these headphones didn't pick that album.
Probably not. Duncan. Yeah, it's an album we both love. Listened to it to death. I just saw them live again for the 4th time a couple of weeks back, so it made this a kind of easy choice. Production-wise, this is also an album that is flawless in my opinion. So I was interested to hear what it would sound like through these headphones. So I'll let you kick off. What did you make of these headphones? What did you think of that album? And was there anything else you checked out that you kind of listened to the headphones through?
Yeah, like we're fortunate because yes, we could easily sit here and listen to like the Beatles or something like that, like really kind of root around in well-trodden territory, but we listen to music that puts any software, any mechanism, any hardware through its paces. So like on this album specifically, it was going to get put through its paces. From Mars to Sirius has everything from the most fucking punishing like kind of progressive death metal through to whale noises, atmospheric spacey sounds, and whole clean sections. And like you say, the production is flawless. So I was curious on this because to me this was the one where we were gonna see how it handled the heavy. I know that like no like qualms. It was going to handle whale noise fine, but how does it handle the heavy? And I'll be honest, I was smiling from ear to ear. Like you mentioned, a lot of kind of closed back ones do have a tendency to amplify the bass. Which is cool in the kind of death metal genre anyway. You kind of want that bass. But Gojira don't stereotypically tune low. Which actually made these the perfect headphones to listen to this on because there's a ton of mid-range in their sound, which gave it the punch. Everything comes through crystal clear. We'd been speaking about this briefly in the interim in between about how you start to notice things that you maybe that are probably always been there, but they haven't been given the same value in the mix coming through the headphones that these picked out. So there was certain instrumentation or notes or things in the background that all of a sudden sounded more crystal, more accentuated, more in the middle than I was used to.
Yeah.
I think the balance is great. I think what was cool about them is, once again, putting them through their paces. I found myself kind of doing the reverse of what you probably should do with a pair of headphones like these. So in the quieter sections, I was like kind of starting to lower the actual volume down a bit to see if I could, if anything was losing, and it was still very, very audible. But then in the heavier sections, really pushing them up to the to find out if they distorted, if they broke, what started to rattle, if anything. And it handled it handsomely. At no point did it feel like, oh, this is the point. I shouldn't have done this. Dave's not going to have a great listening experience with these. It handled it really, 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 really well. I think, like I said before, like part of that is due to just generally the mix on that album and the fact that it's not detuned to like drop F or something.
Yeah.
But the other part is that I think it just handles the frequencies really, really well. Another thing about the Bluetooth is that, because I'm that way inclined, I started like moving away to see what the range was, and the range was really, really, really good on these. Like, I live on a three floor house, so like I'm putting the phone on this floor, which is in the basement, and then going up to the top floor and walking about the top to see, is it going to kick out? And it was all coming through crystal clear. At no point was it cutting off. So that is another big selling point for it. So frequency wise, it sounded great. I think it accentuated the production really, really well. And it's a great album to put it through its paces because, like we say, it's on the heavier end. It's not that we could go disgustingly heavy. I don't necessarily see the point of that. But in terms of let's give this a whirl, I thought, it more than fulfilled the brief in a way where I have more expensive headphones than this, that I know for a fact that when I've listened to this, it does ebb on it really boosts the bass or really makes it sound heavier, but not necessarily clearer, which these ones certainly did. What about yourself? How did you get on?
Yeah, I think the first thing I noticed is how open it makes this album sound. And it's already an album that sounds huge with a lot of atmosphere, but these made it sound even wider. They're also very, very natural sounding. Like it's not completely like flat. These definitely have boosted some parts of the sound, but it does sound very natural, very unprocessed. And maybe even though these maybe don't have the bottom end of a closed back set of headphones, the bass is boosted and has plenty of oomph to it. It doesn't overpower, but it's warm and it's deep enough to give this album plenty of weight. But even though you've got that kind of warmth from the bass, it doesn't lose any clarity at all. The mids are great. The top end comes through with plenty of detail, but it's not harsh in any kind of way. It's very smooth. So I didn't feel like I got any kind of like listening fatigue from these at all. It's detailed. You can hear a slight boost in the treble, but these are very easy to listen to. I thought this album sounded excellent through these. This album sounds awesome anyway, but there were a few moments through these headphones that really kind of came alive for me. There's a track, and this is one of the kind of least interesting tracks of the album. There's a track called Unicorn on that album, which is filled with like whale sounds and picked guitar. It's more of an interlude actually, but it was just, when it kicked in, I was like, wow, this is unbelievably clear. I was like, I feel like I'm at freaking SeaWorld here, man, sitting listening to this album. Like, it was just like surrounding me. And the atmosphere in general on this album felt more elevated than usual, felt even more kind of expansive. The other moment that really landed for me is that drop in Flying Whales.
Oh, man.
I mean, it sounded really crisp. Like the cymbals have got like a extra kind of sizzle to them. You could really hear the detail in the hi-hats, and everything sounds very well spaced out. Like the separation and the instrumentation when it all kicks in was excellent. And like the question that you're pondering is, did it sound heavy? Absolutely. Like it really does. The bass has a real kind of quick kind of punch to it. Sounds nice and tight and clean. So it's not boomy at all. So it accents those heavy parts really well. And things like the double bass drums had plenty of force as well. So I was really surprised, and because it's an album that I love and I think is kind of perfect anyway. But yeah, I felt like the headphones really, everything was super clear, and it didn't lack like heaviness or anything like that. So yeah, I was really impressed with how these sounded with this album. Out with the Gojira album, was there anything else that you checked out that you want to kind of try with the headphones?
Yeah, so I had, like I say, in a single sitting, when I decided to open them up. So I did a couple of listens on and off of from Marcellus Sirius, and then the night that I sat down and was like, that right, we're going to put these on for a prolonged period, and we're just going to go through albums that are on completely different ends of the spectrum, and genres around. I had a fucking whale of a time, no pun intended. I started that, so I come right off from Marcellus Sirius and then straight into Scary Monsters and Super Creeps by David Bowie.
Oh,
it's an album from 1980, I think it was 81. And the reason I went there is because it has, like most Bowie stuff, it's got fucking everything happening. It's got pianos, it's got weird trippy guitar sounds, it's got brass sections, it's got David Bowie crooning, it's got a really cool production as well, very of the era. And I switched that on, and once again, like everything just lit up. There's a really, really vibrant, kind of rich sound that flowed around it. So it sounded great there. From there, because I was on that Bowie trend, I was like, that let's go Bowie adjacent, but slightly heavier, straight into Nine Inch Nails. Of course, Dave would not let us pick for a classic album Nine Inch Nails for either review that we're doing on these, which upset me greatly, but that doesn't mean I can't listen to them, Dave. And I didn't go down where I wanted to go down. Instead, I went straight to the Broken EP.
Right.
Nice and short, punchy. Once again, kind of like the Gojira thing, it's not detuned a lot. It kind of sits very high up. It's like almost, I can't remember, I think it's like C, it's C tuning or something. It's like, it's high up. So, but there's loads going on. It's another one that's got punch and snarl. Once again, sounded great. Especially, there's a lot of kind of layered synth work that sits that like I know to listen for it because I know it's there.
Yeah.
But instead of kind of straining to do the old listening thing, it sounded nice. Sat perfect there. Followed it up with a little bit of Deadsy. And this is a fucking pick for anyone out there who is like, who the fuck are Deadsy? Deadsy are fronted by Cher's son, and they're a kind of weird avant-garde. I think they class themselves as undercore. It's kind of like goth pop. And their first album, Commencement, once again has a lot of bass, a lot of low end. The guitars are detuned to fuck on that one. And once again, vibrant. Like it's like a nice fuzzy kind of like snarliness about it, but never at any point did I hear it crackling or like straining. And then lastly, the one that I want to point out, which is a completely different genre entirely, I checked out, and it's an album that I listen to quite regularly at night when it's quiet and the household is all asleep and it's like 2 a.m. and I can't sleep. I listen to Agnes Obel's 2013 album Aventine. She is a Belgian pianist, and she crafts these, she just writes a lot of different instruments, but it's mostly kind of somber mood pieces, but she will include a lot of traditional sort of stringed instrumentation in the background as like layers that go through her music. And it's maybe the best that album's ever sounded to me. Like, and I've listened to that album to fucking death through headphones that are about 4 times the price of those ones there, and it's never sounded as clear. It was like that. There's something really rewarding about that middle range that those headphones bring in. I think it is. I think it's those open or that. Granted, I was listening to the music in isolation away from people, so if I was cranking up, they couldn't hear what I was listening to. But yeah, I was. The other thing is, as well, as I think the Bluetooth performs brilliantly in terms of the transfer. So I tried it with both wired and unwired. So with the Bluetooth, and the sound quality is the same. So you don't lose anything at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very, like, for the price point on these ones, I was very impressed. So yeah, it was incredible. I'm super curious because I went all over the shop. I'm curious to hear what like deep dives you picked to put it through its paces.
When I finished the Gojira thing, for some reason, the first album that came to mind was Boss Colloid, Family of the Smiling Thrush.
Nice.
I was just like, yeah, that's so naturally lush sounding. And I just thought I'd really like to hear how that sounds through these headphones. And as I kind of expected after listening to Gojira, these headphones worked extremely well and kind of accentuating that organic sound, making it sound more alive. The natural, the tones of the drums sounded unreal.
The drum production on that album is fucking amazing anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It kind of, when I was listening to it, I mean, that album's got a bit of a kind of live feel. But when I was listening, I was thinking, it felt like you were kind of in the room with them when I was sitting listening to it. It sounded really, really good. I tested them against some other kind of styles and artists. So when I was listening to Boss Colloid, I was thought, these headphones are going to sound excellent paired with something quite kind of up close and maybe acoustic. So I went down a route to Andy McKee. Checked out Art of Motion, which is one of my favourite albums by his. It's all acoustic guitar, tapping, and there's no vocals, tapping and picking. Sounded fantastic, very rich, very detailed. That kind of spacious sound really puts you again in the middle of everything, which is a really cool listening experience. Also throwing a bit of 40 watt sun as well, which worked really well. The other one that I tried, and it's one of my favourite albums, and I wanted to go with something a bit older, so I went with Fleetwood Mac's Rumours.
Love that album.
It's so good, and I love that album anyway, but and I love the production of it. But the bass just sounded immense through these headphones. It's so clear. Like you could hear every little flurry, little run that he does. Everything was sounded fantastic. And it's an album that has a lot of kind of separation. So you get instrumentation that's like panned to one side, acoustic guitars coming through in one ear or a bit of percussion over here. So it was really cool to listen to that. The clarity of it and all of that coming through from different angles. I thought it was really cool. It was a really good album to listen to through the headphones. I thought they worked best with kind of guitar-based music, personally. I did try some other stuff, kind of dance and pop. I thought it sounded really good. I didn't find it was really massively elevated, but I felt like natural drums and stuff and bass, it's got a bit of character, really came through fantastically on these. In terms of the Bluetooth, I'd have to agree. I think the clarity of the Bluetooth was just as good. I think the reception for it as well, regardless of how far away you were from your device, I thought it was fantastic. So I wouldn't hesitate in using the Bluetooth on a kind of day-to-day basis with these. I think the only maybe small downside is the battery length maybe isn't as long as some of the newer headphones that are out just now.
Yeah.
Some of the new Sonys are going for like 30 hours, whereas these
when are you ever going to listen to 30 hours consistent music? That's the bit that always gets me. The battery life of the new fucking Garmin watch is like 73 hours. And I'm like, you would have charged it by then.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
8 hours, but then, I don't know. There's part of me that, listen to music. Well, I suppose it's if you're traveling, isn't it? So you don't have the luxury of the ability to charge headphones on the go.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't use these traveling either, just because of the kind of open back. I think like a noise cancelling would work better if you're flying or whatever anyway. But I suppose if you're if you're listening to these at home, then 6 to 8 hours is probably enough. But maybe just not as long as some of the newer headphones coming out. The actual kind of dongle itself is fine. It's pretty basic. There's no volume or skip button. But you can pause and play using the single button that's on it. And as I said, I didn't have any connection issues or interference or anything like that. So good quality piece of kit on the Bluetooth headphones. Overall, Duncan, what are we thinking? What was your overall feelings, and what was your rating for the Deva Pro? What did you think?
So I put it through its paces. I checked like older albums. I checked some of my favorite albums, and like this one's going to score quite high, specifically because of the price point it comes in at. These are not. Because I did a little bit of market research, these are actually not that expensive when you compare to what's on, what's out there, what you can get stuck in the weeds of. And it has a lot of qualities to me that make them appealing. First and foremost, the sound is great and the comfort value. Like my ears being the way they are, being shaped the way they are through self-mutilation, means that, I do have to think about that. Like if I want to listen to music, how long can I actually keep these on for? And these sat for easily 6 hours comfortable on my ears, and didn't have any issues with any of the albums that I picked. Gave me great sound quality, and at times made me remember why I love certain albums as much as I do, and gave me a new appreciation and another listens to things that I listened to many, many, many times over. Negatives are small. Yes, at times especially when you're feeling them, there is that feel of, well, this is plastic, but it's not like egregiously plastic.
Yeah.
I mean, there is still a feel of it as plastic, but you do at the same time still kind of feel like, oh, this could be a thin composite of metal. You know what I mean? It's not to the point where it just feels totally cheap.
Yeah.
Another negative is open back, which you kind of have to, especially if you listen to the music that we listen to at the volumes that we listen to, you have to be mindful of who's around.
Yeah.
And then lastly, that the Bluetooth is great. I love listening to the Bluetooth. The dongle shape itself, maybe a bit too large for 2023.
Yeah.
And could probably be a bit more on the battery life. That being said, though, I loved these. I thought these were brilliant. There was a part of me that cried a little bit when I had to hand them back to you. I give this a 4 out of 5. Like, genuinely, I thought these were brilliant. I don't listen to anything on them that made me, and I was being more vigilant than I usually am, specifically to what I'm listening to as opposed to the music I'm listening to.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything at any point that I felt like, oh, well, that's its limitation.
Yeah.
Which is kind of great. That's a refreshing thing. I've got plenty of other headphones, or wore plenty of other headphones, where I get to a point where I'm like, right, I don't listen to these albums. This album, this band, like, we're not doing Meshuggah on these headphones. That's just not happening anymore. So yeah, I thought it were really good. So I give it a 4 out of 5.
Nice. I think the versatility, I think, is the kind of huge selling point on these for me. These can be used cabled through the 3.5mm or USB-C, or you've got the Bluetooth option as well, which is great. Sound wise, they sound great. I mean, they're bright, they're detailed, really spacious, very well separated, plenty of subtleties that you'll pick out in the background as well. I think the mids are great. Nothing that'll blow your mind in the bass, but I think it has a good depth and a good warmth to it. And the sound is as good, whether it's wired or Bluetooth. I think it doesn't really matter. I think the sound is great across the board. Battery life, yeah, maybe not quite as good as some of the newer Bluetooth headphones in the market, but the sound is fantastic. I think if you are looking to get into more high-end headphones, I think these are a fantastic place to start. I think you're getting so much bang for your buck with these at under £300, especially when HiFiMAN are actually using a lot of the same tech they are using in their higher tier headphones as well. I agree with you. I'd go 4 out of 5 on these. I think these are a really, really good set of headphones. If you're looking to get into the market, into more kind of high end stuff, then these are a great place to start. So yes, I think the question I was asking myself was, would I buy these headphones? And the answer to that is yes, I absolutely would. At 275 quid for this kind of sound quality, absolutely.
Perfect.
That is our review of the new Deva Pro HiFiMAN headphones. Thanks for checking it out. I'll put some links below to the headphones so you can check them out. Let us know what you think. If you've got a set yourself, I'm happy to answer questions if you've got any in the links below. And if you're looking for tech reviews, I'll put a link below to that as well, where you can get in touch with us. We're happy to check out any of your gear. More than happy. That's the review. Thank you for checking out. Much appreciated. We'll be back with another tech review very soon. But until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.